Okay, let's speak here with Vicky Chandler, who represents Discover Dominica Authority here at World Travel Market. Vicky, thank you very much. It's probably off camera right now, so we want you to hold it up a little bit and show it, because I want to begin with this. Dominica is still recovering from, first of all, you had Tropical Storm Erica, 3 years ago, and then Hurricane Maria last year. So there's quite a bit that you've got to recover from, especially that devastation of Maria last year. But amid all of that, you've got some good news about one of your main attractions, this Waikiki National Trail.
Well, what happens sometimes when you're in a bad situation, you have an opportunity to do something really good. And what Hurricane Maria has offered is almost, in a sense, a clean slate in some areas, and allowed us to see what is really important to us as a destination and as human beings. And of course, Waikiki being a very beautiful and unique experience in the Caribbean. It's the longest hiking trail in the region. It's 115 miles. It was damaged in the sense that many of the trees that were thrown down in the hurricane were all over the trail. So it is a labor of love, and there is a particular hotelier, Annette Payer-Lerner at the Tamarind Tree Hotel, who has made it part of her life's work now, in addition to many other things, to clear segment 11. And she has worked tirelessly since January, and her efforts were nominated as one of in the world category for tourism projects at the British Guild of Travel Writers Awards. And she actually won the category over 2 American projects last night at the Savoy. So I was very happy to collect the award on her behalf. But Waikiki, the trail on the whole, is very special to Dominica. It is an island that has beautiful hiking trails, lots of hiking experiences, and it allows you to see the island from so many different perspectives and angles and heights. You really get a feel for the destination when you're able to go out into the grass and among the trees and look at the ocean and the mountains. It's just, to me, it's just one of the best experiences on the island.
115 miles, you said. That's quite a trek.
Yes, it is. It will probably take the average person about a week to do it. It is on my bucket list. I have hiked several of the segments that are open. Officially, the trail as an entire experience is not open, but there's several segments and areas along the trail that are hikeable. And then there are other areas where you can go hiking in Dominica, which are not necessarily part of the Waikiki. But it's a special activity. It's on my list.
So you've mentioned segments, which means that I can opt in and opt out, walk one segment and don't necessarily have to walk every single segment there.
You can do segment. There are 14 segments. It starts at the southwestern tip of the island, and it meanders across the country through the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. You can pass waterfalls and streams and lakes. Boiling Lake, you can pass the Boiling Lake on your trail. That's one of the segments. You can do all 14, you can do 1, you can do 3, you can skip and hop around. The plan, of course, is that we want people to be able to overnight at the end of a set. Some segments will take 4 hours because of the altitude and the difficulty, but they're moderate, easy, difficult segments, and you will be able eventually, when we have reopened the entire trail, to overnight at the end of the segment you've done that day, instead of going back to your hotel and starting at the new segment the next time. But if you want to opt in and out, that's fine too.
So it must therefore come as great relief and a sense of pride for you obviously it was a one person's project, but you're suggesting one person's project is a reflection of the country. It must be a tremendous sense of pride to win this.
Absolutely, it is. We got recognition for this because Annette was one of the first persons to reopen her hotel. It didn't suffer a lot of damage, but she's not working alone. She does hire some people to assist her, but the Division of Forestry in Dominica is also part of the job. And there are other hotels that adopted segments. Range Developments, who are the company developing the Kempinski Resort, they adopted segment 12, and they did work on segment 12. We have the Fort Young Hotel, who did lots of work on segment 3. So several different properties on island are assisting, the government as well, local people in their own communities. But the trail is just one aspect of the recovery of the island. But as you said, it is reflective of the whole effort. I always say it takes a country to run a destination. So in every area, when it comes to the resilience, rebuilding with resilience in your own homes or your properties, when it comes to fixing the roads, when it comes to the service we offer, because we know what that Dominica means to us, and we want to make sure that we get things right for ourselves as well as for the visitors who want to come and experience it.
And how long is it going to take the tourism industry to recover from the hurricane?
I think it's already recovering, I have to say. We have about 57% of our original room stock, and that's about just under 500 rooms. And there are some smaller properties that are not going to rebuild. They have determined that they're going to go into a different kind of business. But what has happened, and it started happening prior to Maria, and has continued after, we have lots of new investment in the destination. Some of the older properties that were there before have decided to expand and upgrade, like Fort Young. They will reopen within several months, I think by October next year, with an additional 71 rooms to bring their room stock to over 100. We have the Jungle Bay Resorts, who closed in 2015 after Erica, and they will reopen early next year in the first quarter with 60 of their 120 rooms. And later in the year, in October, we have the 5-star resort Kempinski, which is going to bring 140 rooms to the destination. So it's recovering already for the properties that were there and are upgrading. And then, in a sense, we are going into a whole new demographic, if you will, where we will have that 5-star ultra experience within the Nature Island context, which will attract, I think, bring more eyes to the destination than were there before. We, of course, are a very eco country. It's all very natural, and we have our very special cabin in the woods type boutique hotels. But the larger resorts with Kempinski, with the new Jungle Bay, with the upgraded Fort Young, and also in 2020 when we have the Marriott Autograph Collection open in the Amici Resort, we will have a lot more to offer. So, I think every island is always evolving. We keep using the word recovery, but I think in life we are always fixing things, whether we were hit by a storm or not. Sometimes you just want to do better than what you have, and I think Dominica is well on the way to just evolving as a destination.
You had a groundbreaking very recently, didn't you, for the hotel?
Yes, we had a groundbreaking for a new property, Tranquility Beach. It is in Salisbury along the west coast. So that's a project that's going to be getting on the way. Well, it got on the way when the ground was broken. So there's lots of activity in the sector. And I think that's one of the good things about being hit by a storm. You make a decision, you're either in the business or you're not in the business. And I think the people who are serious and very committed to making things work, as well as the government of Dominica, of course, and the Discover Dominica Authority, which is, of course, why we're here at WTN.
If air access remains a major issue, doesn't it?
I would say yes and no. We work with what we have. We do not have an international airport as yet, but there's several ways that you can actually get to Dominica. Exactly 3 days ago, we started a new connecting flight that connects from Guadeloupe to Dominica, where you can get a same-day connection, an additional same-day connection from Germany or France across the Atlantic. Unfortunately, not from the UK as yet. But and also it connects really well to the Norwegian flight out of New York, so you can get a late flight out of Pointe-à-Pitre into Dominica. But apart from that, we have several inter-island ferry services that can connect you from Martinique, Guadeloupe, and you can fly, of course, from Barbados, Antigua, St. Martin to get over to Dominica. So there's several ways you can get there, just not directly from the major gateways.
And here at the World Travel Market, it's early, you're in the first day here, but you must have some critical appointments and people that you want to speak with. So tell us, what's the agenda for you at World Travel Market, and what's the objective for this year?
Well, the objective is to let people know that we are open for business, of course. We are not, we don't have the same level of room stock, but we do have several places you can stay. All of our major activities and attractions are open. You can still go swimming with the whales. You can still hike several different trails. The diving is excellent. All of our 21 of our 23 sites are officially open. So there's lots to do. And of course that is critical for the cruise sector. We have 190 cruise calls scheduled this year. We opened the season last week. But one of the major objectives for this event is to ensure that we continue to make contacts with those tour operators who want to carry the destination, the new opportunities for the new properties, and also keep them abreast of the information on the ones that are coming on board. So people know, because it's an evolving situation. So we just want to make sure that everybody understands the situation now, which I think is great. But to see specifically, because we are on the island, you guys here are not. So we just want to make sure we keep the connections going and show everyone what opportunities there are to get the business done between the operator and the properties, and of course up-to-date information and photos of the destination. So that's
you just recently had your World Creole Music Festival, didn't you? How was that?
Oh, fantastic. It was a great event. I have never been, maybe it's my fault, to an event that started at night and finished at sunrise. But we had 3 nights, continuous nights of music. And even after the shows finished at daybreak, it was something else was going on. Either an activity on the bayfront in the Bord de la Mer, or some activity somewhere with more music, keeping me up all day after being up all night. But it was a great celebration. I think there's something special about being the last major music festival in the Caribbean after the ones in all these summer festivals in the other islands. This is the big last lap party before Christmas. And it's a World Creole Music Festival, but we had several different genres. From Dominica alone, we have so many different types of music, from jingping to kempo to cadence calypso. And of course, we have our soca in the Caribbean, and all the traditional types of music in the region. And so we had a variety of local artists as well as regional and international ones from further afield. But it was really an opportunity for our neighbors and Dominicans living overseas to come back and celebrate for the first time, really. Those who couldn't come in December last year or chose not to after the storm, because we canceled the show in 2017. So it was bigger and better this year, and the crowds were massive. And it was, of course, a week before our independence anniversary, a 40th anniversary of independence on November the 3rd. So it was a wonderful feeling of celebration and life, really, for a destination that has done so well with so few people